Victus here with Pike and Shot Campaigns, and I haven't done a battle in this amazing wargame since the first battle that we did with Seminara, I remember. So right now we're going to go and continuing the historical, and we're going to go here. We have different options here. We're going to go straight to the Italian Wars. So if we remember, not so long ago I did a Battle of Seminara, and right now we're going to continue with the second battle from the beginning of the Italian Wars, in which the King of France is going to invade the Italian peninsula, hoping that he would take Naples and something else in between. However, we're going to go and fight the battle that was fought in FORNOVO. This is the Battle of FORNOVO of 1495. Leading the command of the coalition against the French was the Condottiero, Gonzaga, and he is going to be leading the fight here with the Venetian army. It is not exactly a Venetian army. It consists of about a large coalition of Italian states that are going to intercept the retreat of King Charles VIII from the peninsula. He's going to try to go to the north, consolidate his forces in Novara, and then he's going to try to escape, but he's going to be intercepted in FORNOVO. Let's read here. So Francesco Gonzaga, the guy that I was talking about, he was the Marquess of Mantua. So you are in command of the forces of the Holy League. It was called the Holy League because France actually took Rome, but the Pope was part of that. It is a huge coalition, including the Spaniards and the Holy Roman Empire. But it's called the Holy League. In some sources it is called the Venetian League. So here we're going to say that it's the Holy League. So the Holy League. The Holy League rise to oppose King Charles of France's invasion of Italy. The French are marching home to France following their conquest of Naples. They just leave here a garrison, and an interesting fact is that at the very moment that this thing was happening, in the very moment of the battle, some sources say that was the very moment that Fernandino was crossing here in Reggio. That was the previous battle that we did. So you have decided to attack them. It says you because we are going to take Francesco Gonzaga. You have decided to attack them as they march past your position on the other bank of the River Taro. FORNOVO is actually an actual city that is in the actual River Taro, in the banks. So your men-at-arms outnumber those of the enemy, and your army is deployed in multiple lines with proper reserves, as dictated by this scientific Italian art of war. Okay, I'm not pretty sure what is that allusion of the scientific Italian art of war. It appears to be sarcasm. Okay, so we're going to go to do that. Welcome back. Again, it's going to be very, very good. Now, let's remember that these are the first instances of the battles that started this type of, the beginning of this type of warfare. We're going to read here a little bit. Just as I was saying, these are the baby steps of the big military revolution that happened in this time. This is a whole topic that I love. Long story short is that this is yet to be the exact or the famous battles that we all know about, the 30 Years' War. This is yet to be those type of battles. This is the beginnings and the technologies of the pikes and the shot and the artillery are like starting to, the pieces of the actual puzzle are starting to fall in place. So let's read a little bit about this. Just by seeing here, this is a tough battle, to be honest, but just by seeing here we see that this is the river Taro. So the enemy army is in column of march on the other side of the river Taro. This is the column of march. This is because they are going to cross, King Charles is going to decide to cross the river due north. So the enemy is marching in column. So the French army includes many Swiss pikemen as well as the much vaunted French Gendarmes, which are the men-at-arms. But we have the advantage of the scientific Italian art of war. Okay. I still don't know why is this illusion of the scientific Italian art of war, but we're going to discover it. Vanguard in the real battle was here. You have here the vanguard that is going north. Our light horse is ready to sweep down on the head of the French column. Here is the actual rear guard from the Holy League that was comprised of the light cavalry, more likely mounted crossbowmen. The waters of the river are low, but rain overnight has rendered the banks slippery. However, our first line has already advanced across the river. This is the first line, which is the actual rear, and this is the actual vanguard, and the center is actually the most powerful one, commanded by Gonzaga, and the rest of our army has not yet crossed, but is ready to fight. So, here we have it. Here we see the camp. So we're going to proceed here, and we're going to see the troops that we have at our disposal. We have troops at our disposal. Such troops are the Italian pikemen, poorly motivated pikemen and halberdiers. Now let's remember that this is a mix of pikes and halberdiers. This is heavy foot. Special unit features the Keil, which is as well how it is denominated the actual Swiss pikes. Immune to ill effects of flank attacks, ignores enemy ZOZ, and can charge any mounted troops. Now, in terms of what is a COC, I'm not familiar with this. I'm still learning the ropes of this amazing wargame, to be honest. Large artillery target troops quantity raw, armored, and they have heavy weapons and pikes. You can see that they have 33 defense and 298 what is the power. Now I think I can do one of these, and it's going to appear here. These guys are very, very strong, are the same as those guys, but I can see here that the Landsknecht Keil is more powerful because it's good quality German mercenary pikemen. I don't think that we can get more of those. We can get more of those actually. So what I'm going to do is to take away this and take more Landsknechts. It is going to be good to have Landsknechts because you're going to see that if this is the vanguard, according to the battle, the Landsknechts are located in here. So we're going to put more Landsknechts here, and here we have these. So the other thing that we're going to do, we have as well the skirmishing crossbowmen. These are not mounted crossbowmen. These are very weak, actually. Some of them apparently no, they have 38 of range attack. That means that's the symbol of the actual shooting attack rating. and this is 41. In comparison with the Arquebus, the actual Arquebus is slightly better, as you can see, 41. And 68 of attack. That is, in comparison, the same thing. Then we have, this is beautiful because this is the best. The best is this one. So we cannot get one more of these, I think. That was the only one. And then we have here Italian mounted crossbowmen, which was something that was a characteristic of the Italian states in this time period, and exactly in the Battle of Fornovo was the Italian mounted crossbowmen. Then we have the Stradiots. Now, a note here, the Stradiots here are these are Greek cavalry. These are light cavalry. Pretty much this is the cavalry that was based the whole light cavalry in Europe. They are going to base the tactics of the jinetes, for example, in Spain, from these Stradiots. Stradiots are Greek Albanians and more likely experts on mountain terrain. These are light horse lancers. They, even though historically, these guys, just take this out, even though historically the Stradiots are going to have shooting attack rating because they are going to throw javelins, these guys here don't have shooting attack rating. They just have their light horse, average on armored, and they have light lancers. Apparently they have a sword here. Then of course we have the Gendarmes men at arms. This is what was called in this time exactly the men at arms, not to be confused as men at arms could possibly have, we can have men at arms unmounted, but this is men at arms, the standard men at arms Gendarmes, fully armored men at arms. This is the knight of the time. This is the tank of the time. These are troop type Gendarmes, troop quality average, and fully armored. They are heavy lancers and they have huge amounts of defense. This is the most powerful in terms of defense that we can get. The Landsknechts we already know that they exist, and the crossbowmen that are light Italian troops. And if we didn't mention something about the Arquebusiers, apart from the fact that they have the shooting ability or shooting attack rating of 41, which is slightly better, as I mentioned before, than the actual crossbowmen. These were very cumbersome Arquebusiers that are not in the slightest the same Arquebusiers that we're going to find in the 30 Years' War. Okay, so now that we know that, and in the actual history, this part that was harassing, that's actually the rear guard, was based with a lot of cavalry. We have the option of putting full of cavalry here, but actually I would like to think that because this was the vanguard that was harassing the baggage train of the actual French that were just crossing the actual river. This is the Taro, and let's assume that this city here is Fornovo. Sadly, the river is depicted here very, because the rivers here, the maps are very thin. Okay, but we already have this cavalry that have crossed, and there was an amazing use of reserves in this battle. So we have already put this. Yeah, I know this is a big explanation, but this is necessary for us to have an amazing battle here. So now that we know all of this information, what we're going to do, perhaps here we can get more Arquebusiers. I don't think Arquebusiers are going to be good in here. I would like to press more Stradiots here and Italian mounted crossbowmen. I think if we do all of these guys, we're going to have plenty of cavalry here, even though in the real battle was the other way around. This was the actual harassment vanguard of the Holy League, instead of being this part that is actually the rear guard. They have like inverted the actual role here. So we're going to do that there, and we're going to reinforce the center here with Italian Gendarmes if it's possible. I think not, because we cannot get both, but we can get Arquebusiers here and perhaps one more. I don't think it's going to be, perhaps the Crossbowmen is going to be possible. I think we don't have the option to get more, so it's a waste of 23 here. So I think this one I'm going to take out, and perhaps I'm going to take this one. How much is the actual Italian pikemen? Italian pikemen they cost 64. So that would mean to take one Stradiot or the Crossbowmen. Just using I'm going to take the Crossbowmen, and I'm going to take here the Italian pikemen, or I can get 2 of these and perhaps one more. That's interesting. Let me take these. Perhaps we can get 2 of these. Nope. If we can get 2 of those, no. So we would get 2 of these, more Crossbowmen, and 29 is going to be enough to get one mounted Italian Crossbowman. Okay, I think it's going to be okay here. At the end, we got more harassment here. I mean, light cavalry to harass the enemy. And here we have a good center. This is what I'm going to treat as the center, and this is the vanguard. Even though it's completely different from the real battle, as I mentioned before. So let's proceed. We're going to see that these guys, this movement is not made by me. So these guys have already crossed the river, and this is according the context of the battle, in which the actual cavalry is going to cross first, and then the infantry is going to follow. The battle was not like this in real life, but okay, that's what we got here. The center, this is the center commanded by Gonzaga that we must push in here. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do here. I think we're going to do the first moves here. I don't think we're going to be able to get to the next turn for us, but there is something to take into account here. Routing at least 40% of their troops and 20% more than you have lost. So if we rout 40% of their troops and 25 more than we have lost, we win, or routing 60% of their troops, which is exactly the same thing, but there's a limit in 60%. And here we have the start of Italian turn. Italian troops routed 0%. Now, I have found that if we do show detailed unit info, we're going to be able to get this info that it's important. Let me see. If we click each unit, we're going to be able to see all of these details, and it's important for us to know all of these. So let me go and start this. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, we see here that the Stradiots are actually, they have current strength here, impact, and let me see. Okay, so now if you click here and then you click here, you can get rid of that. So that's important. So let's go, and first I would like to hit some of these guys here. We can see that we have guns here. These are actual, it says here that is gun limbers. They have armor piercing 10, heavy artillery, and they have no defense. These guys as well have no defense, just the actual the actual pikes have defense. These guys are looking to the front, so basically what we have to do is to take all of these guys here and smash them in the flanks. To do that as well, we have to lure these guys away from the center, so we should lure some of these guys away, and then we have all of these guys concentrated to hit the center. So we're going to try to do that here. Basically all that we got here are Italian Gendarmes, more likely, and these are the Italian mounted crossbowmen. So what we're going to do, use the Stradotai. These guys are mounted crossbowmen. I'm going to move them here. Let me show you here. This is a crossbowman that I'm going to turn like this. Let me turn like this. So anything that crosses here is going to be shot. And then as well, I'm going to try to move this guy here. So this guy further is going to take this hill and start shooting at these guys. And I'm gonna try to lure them, as I said, with the Stradotai. So what I'm going to do is to send the Stradotai here. All the Stradotai down here. And then, this way, perhaps these guys are going to be lured in here, which was actually the actual tactic that was used in this battle by the Holy League. Supposedly the king was located in here. So now this is the baggage train. So we see the Italian Gendarmes. We have a lot of power here. They are protected with these guys, but here we see the crossbowmen. The crossbowmen are very weak. We can't charge against the crossbowmen because the crossbowmen have no defense, and these guys are the same as these, even though the actual Gendarmes of France are slightly more powerful in terms of attack and armor piercing. Actually, the Italian Gendarmes have no armor piercing. Very interesting to note. Very interesting indeed. So if we try to select these guys, we cannot, because these guys just move. So that's the bad thing about the beginning of this battle, because if we have these guys so close, it would have been better if we can just simply order a charge and... Okay, never mind. This is because apparently we have numerical superiority. That is supposedly the fact. Now, the actual Battle of FORNOVO was declared a victory for France. Even though I can discuss that, but up to this, for the purposes of this video, we're going to say that France won. Okay, so let's concentrate the center. Okay, the center. Did we just... no, we didn't took this. So we're going to concentrate the center with the Gendarmes. We're going to still concentrate the center here. Here we have Arquebusiers and Crossbowmen that I think we're going to move here. Oh, I just misclicked. I wanted to move them there. Everything is going to be concentrated here in the center. So basically we're going to push hard in the center. And as well we're going to cross with the Arquebusiers over here. And yeah, and what we're going to do next is to push with these guys. So we're going to push to the front. These guys, Crossbowmen. There we go. These guys can move, but they move very, very slowly, as you can see. These are Keil and more Keil. These are possibly Condottieros. So let's just move this guy here. Turn it and move this one here. So still we're pushing to the center with all of our force, and we're going to leave at the back a little bit of reserves. I'm just going to move this one here. So that way we can get this guy over here, because if we see here, we have the most powerful units are on the vanguard of the actual French, and this is historically accurate in this instance because the French, they located all of their forces to the front. In the counterpart, the Gonzaga would concentrate all the force to the center. So we're going to leave these as reserves. So we're going to put these guys here. So these are going to be the reserves. This is simply the reserve that we're going to leave in here. Just move this guy here. Let's turn him. Okay, that was a misclick. And move this one here. So this is going to be the reserves, and I think that's it. Simply, I just wanted to move to put this looking forward. Okay, so now this is pretty much what we're going to do with our units. Ah, we have another one here. This is Italian Gendarmes as well. So again, we're going to push in here. Pretty good. Okay. Do we have some next unit unmoved? Is this one and this one. These units are unmoved as well, but we cannot do anything about them. Okay, never mind. So let's see what happens right now. The serial shooting phase. Okay, this is the moment that the units that have not yet shot this turn do so if they have a target. I suppose that the crossbowmen that are located here are going to be the ones that are going to do that. So let's see. Then here we see, oh, it just jumped that, so now it's the melee phase. And that's the turn for the enemy. Okay. And that's exactly the thing that I was saying. These guys have the upper hand in the well, this is perhaps to simulate the fact that when the Holy League were crossing the Taro, there was a rising tide and they were stuck in the river. Perhaps this is to simulate that, because you cannot exactly simulate the situation. Let's remember, or let's point out rather, that in this moment it is not raining, but the ground, it was said, that was damped. So there was signs that there could be a storm, and in some cases, if I remember correctly, there was actually a storm in the middle of the battle. Not exactly a ferocious storm, but there was bad weather. Okay, so I think it's our turn. I think this is going to be the last turn for us, and then we're going to leave it for the moment. So what we're going to do now, sadly they unlimbered their heavy guns, as you noticed, and they are getting ready to shoot at my troops. Sadly, again, as I'm going to repeat this, the fact that we couldn't move these guys at the beginning means that these guys are now facing us instead of the actual flank attack that was supposed to be done, and this is something that happened, as I said. So let's try to lure these guys, but it's good the fact that they are facing our troops. Okay, so let's see. Let's think about this. I don't want to rush this because this is an interesting battle. I don't know why this guy just pulled back in there with these guys. It's interesting as well. So what I'm going to do is, in here I can see that these guys, I have the attention of the Landsknechts, and these guys, this thing here is my point that I have to concentrate my force in. So first we will move our pikes, which is our Italian pikes. I'm gonna move them here, okay? And this is the crossbow. These are crossbowmen, okay? We have Italian Gendarmes here that are pretty much tanks against these guys that have no defense. And this is a good moment in which we can open the detail unit info and click our Italian fully armored men-at-arms with lance. So now, the impact of the light lancers in open terrain only plus 100 POA versus any mounted except heavy lancers or pistol. Plus 100 POA against foot unless these are steady and protected. This is not the case for the crossbowmen. They are not steady, they are not protected. The unit has a pike, a spearman or bayonet, or is defending an obstacle, or is commanded shot with adjacent friendly non-light mounted troops. This is not the case of this. This guy does not have pike, nor spearman, nor bayonet. Extra negative modifier on any enemy unit's cohesion test for losing the impact combat. I think as well that you have to be some squares in there should be some squares in between the unit for us to be able to charge. So again, going again here, in melee, these guys have 100 POA versus mounted except the steady pistols, unless the same rules of pike, spears, and bayonet, and the armor advantage up to 50 POA versus less well-armored opponents, unless these have musket, salvo, arquebus, or heavy weapon or artillery, elephants or battle wagons. This is not the case of these guys, but now it's important. Let me click here because you see shooting, crossbow, short range 2. I think this means that the amount of squares, long range 4, short range 2 and long range 4, effect halved at long range, much less effective than firearms, and effects not reduced against armor. No impact capabilities, no melee capabilities. This means that even though they don't have armor and they don't have melee capabilities, this means that they cannot withstand a charge of Gendarmes. But if we ignore these, we can charge against the pikes. But what happens here with the Swiss Keil, they are top quality Swiss mercenary pikemen and halberdiers. These are special units immune to ill effects of flank attacks. So basically, it doesn't matter if you flank them because they have halberdiers all over the place and they have pikes as well. So you cannot do that. Can charge any mounted troops. They made large artillery targets. This is the reason I think this guy is moving like this, even though I don't have any pikes in this side. But these guys, I'm pretty sure that are ready to attack. Perhaps this Landsknechts over here. Capabilities: heavy weapon, 12% and 88% pikes. No shooting capabilities, but the pike have 100 POA versus any mounted if pike's not charging and not fragmented or severely disordered, and 100 POA versus any unit in open terrain. So the pike has 100 POA versus any mounted and 100 POA versus any if the Keil is not fragmented or severely disordered. So this means that in order for us to attack these guys, we cannot attack straight with the cavalry. It doesn't matter if we are men at arms. So it's going to be very, 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 very foolish of our part to charge against these guys. They are facing us with the pikes, so it's not good. So the best option that we have perhaps is to move our troops back. How many squares can they move? 1, 2. So this means 2, 1, 2. So they can reach here. And if I charge here, these guys are going to run, and then I'm going to have this guy. So it's not going to be good to do that. So what I'm going to do is to turn. I'm going to turn all of the Gendarmes. And now, I mean, the next turn I would be able to run. I think these guys could charge, but to stop these, the fact that these guys could charge, because how much can they move? 1, 2, 3, 4. They can move 4 and then more. So I can... Okay, let me just move this guy here, this guy here, and this guy here. The reason I'm doing this is because, again, I want to lure these guys over here. So then I'm going to move this guy here and this guy over here. I'm going to use the Italian mounted crossbowmen to take at least these guys. Okay, now I'm moving back. I'm trying to lure these guys and to have an opening here perhaps, and then Arquebusiers can start. Arquebusiers, what's the thing with the Arquebusiers? How much they can move, how much they can shoot. Shooting range of 2, effect not reduced against armor. So they can shoot against armor, it doesn't matter. And they are average quality. Okay, so this means that if I move them here and these guys move, they are going to be shot. So I'm going to move them here, turn them, 1, 2. So if these guys move here, then these guys shoot. And over here, if I would see 1, 2, 3, 4. So perhaps this guy is going to be okay if I move him here. So if these guys move, I'm going to be able to shoot. These guys already moved, and now I'm going to position myself with this in here. What was that? The enemy have reacted to our unit by shooting at it. What is that? This one? What was the unit that shoot at me? Because this one, I don't understand. These guys are facing my Arquebusiers, and I don't see any other unit over here. Unless there's an invisible unit over here. I didn't understand. Okay, never mind. Still, I'm going to move. I'm going to cover this part as well, if possible. And here I'm still pushing here. Still pushing here, still pushing here. More likely if this or these guys try to do something here, this guy is to be set in here, and this guy is to be set in here. So let's move here. I cannot turn. Then the Italian Gendarme is going to move here. And finally, with the rest of my center, let's see what we can do. I'm going to move this one here. This crossbowman. Actually, I'm going to see what is going to happen here. Here I can charge straight in here, but these guys are going to run away. So what I'm going to do is to simply, I cannot charge in here, perhaps here or here. It's not possible, so I'm going to move. Okay, let me move here with the crossbowman. Then I'm going to move this guy here. This one I'm going to move here. This one here. Of course, I'm going to be shot by these guys. And with these guys have armor piercing. Let's see what is the story with this. Crossbow range 2, and they have melee armor advantage up to 25 POA versus less well armored opponents unless these have muskets. Salvos Arquebusiers. Okay. So this means that I can charge against this one. But what I'm going to do is simply split turn like this. And yeah, that's it. I'm not going to move there. Just move here. If possible, do this. Push forward and push forward here. I'm going to leave these as reserves. These guys are about to reach here because this is part of the center. And here we have our vanguard. I'm going to treat this as a vanguard. And our vanguard is going to be dealing with these guys here, and that I'm going to leave it for the next chapter. Hopefully you are enjoying this. This was Victus. See you in the next one.